Welcome back. If you haven't jumped on the social networking bandwagon just yet for whatever reason, you might want to reconsider. For starters, social media is just not a fad. It's here to stay, and people are using it to their advantage every day, both personally and professionally. Here now to talk about the key to social media success is social media strategist Mary Petto. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I came to the party late. Okay. I was very resistant and very hesitant when it came to getting into social media, Facebook, primarily because it drove me nuts when people post status updates just to say, hey, I'm home. Or, hey, I'm going out to walk the dog. And it drove me nuts. Mm-hmm. Did that bother you when you first started getting into it?
A little bit, but from a personal perspective, it's a conversation. It's all about talking. But from the business perspective, we're grateful for people that like to hop on every couple of minutes because that just expands our audience further and further. We're putting up our billboard on the highway where all these people are driving back and forth having conversations, basically.
And the exposure is enormous because
Phenomenal.
Businesses are using social networking these days to get the message out to more people than I think they ever would have dreamed possible even 5 years ago. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. Is there any particular type of social media at this point, social networking, that you prefer over one of the other forms, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, MySpace out there, LinkedIn? Which one?
Facebook is by default definitely a place, if you're a business, a local business, where you want to start. It's not always appropriate, but 99.9% of the time you want to make sure that anything you're doing integrates with Facebook.
Again though, while it's a great tool, you always have to watch what you post.
True. If you're a business, you have to be careful about not saying too much in terms of being sales pitchy, and you want to make sure you don't offend and you don't want to get political. You're just there to build a relationship about what you do. We'll
get to that in a minute, a little bit more in depth. But what about a site like LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a site that so many people are using right now to link to other professionals, to other businesses out there. What do you think?
LinkedIn is fantastic. I mean, if you're a business owner and you're wondering how you incorporate a business conversation into a social place like Facebook, then you're going to love LinkedIn because everybody's there to grow their business. So it's a wonderful place to be. It's a who's who of everybody in the world, really, business-wise.
So let's start with these 5 keys to social media success, and you're focusing pretty much on the smaller businesses right now.
For the most part, small, medium, even large. The great thing is that the rules apply no matter what.
So the first key is to post and engage daily.
Right. Definitely regularly. Facebook, the social networks are all about engagement and having two-way conversations, and your goal is to try to get that top of mind awareness. So if you're not posting regularly, you're not making anybody aware of who you are, number one. And number two is if people stumble upon your profile on Facebook or on Twitter and you haven't posted in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, you may as well have your close sign up on the door, and no one's going to opt in because they think you're not participating.
All right, so just a minute ago we said it's important to post and post often and regularly, but don't sell is what you said.
Right, you don't want to be
how do you do that, though? It would seem that there's a very fine line.
It seems like a catch-22, but remember, if you walked into a cocktail party, you wouldn't go up to somebody, shake their hand, and say, buy my product and I'm better than my competitor. That's not how you have a conversation. This is about building a relationship with your prospects, engaging with them, establishing that trust, and then slowly weaving into the conversation about your brand and your product.
Now, you say to follow back on Twitter. What exactly do you have in mind there?
Well, it's kind of specific, but if you're going to grow a following on Twitter, the number one thing that you need to know that most people don't is you need to follow people back. The culture of Twitter is that everybody wants to be heard, and if you're finding that your following has plateaued, it's because those people are following you and they're waiting for you to follow back, and if you don't, they're unfollowing you.
All right, so what about this? We were saying post regularly. You want to set up a posting schedule? All right, so how often?
Okay, so this is good marketing strategy, but this is also time management. So you don't want to just turn on your computer and every day start over, what am I going to talk about today? Instead, look at your business over the next 12 months, a couple of weeks, sit down on Sunday night, maybe just for 45 minutes, and plan out what you're going to post about, what you're going to say, a couple of interesting articles you read over the weekend, a little sneak peek behind the business perhaps on one day. And that way you can spend more time engaging and less worrying about what you need to say. It's
Almost
good.
out of time though, so last point, keep your profiles current, right?
Yes, absolutely. I stumble upon profiles all the time of businesses that just has a logo that means nothing to me, and their profile is just a web address and a phone number, and that doesn't tell me who they are.
Mary, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate having you on the show.
You're welcome.
And if you have any questions or comments about anything in today's show, send them to me at itsyourmoney@news12.com. And that's going to do it for this week. I'm Eric Lance. Until next time, keep watching, keep saving, and remember, it's your money.